This is the Benchwarmers Trivia Podcast. We have assembled the world's finest sports and trivia dorks to prove once and for all that we are just as bad at this as we were at sports.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Benchwarmers Trivia Podcast, sports trivia for those of us who rode the pine. This is episode 293, and this episode is going to feature two teams with one benchwarmer and one special guest. We've got benchwarmer David teaming up with special guest Drew Top, and we have benchwarmer Josh teaming up with general manager to our Patreon, Riley Scherer. Riley, you were most recent in the intro, so why don't you go first, reintroduce us to who you are, what you do, who you root for, all that good stuff.
I'm Riley. I do draft line cleaning and installation and maintenance of draft beer systems. I root for the New York Giants, the Iowa Hawkeyes, the Chicago Cubs. I'm not really a baseball fan. I just kind of came across it a long time ago. And then the Columbus Blue Jackets, because, who doesn't love going to a hockey game? Yeah, just got back from Europe. Drank a lot of good beer in Munich. Drank a lot of bad liquor in Hungary.
And Josh, how are you? And what's your team's name for this episode?
I'm doing all right. I'm just here surviving just like everyone else, right? No real major complaints that we don't need to, get into on a sports trivia podcast. But things are good. And teaming up with Riley today, and he's wearing a Circle Jerks shirt. So we were kind of talking a little bit about punk rock and all that stuff before we started recording, and I was talking about how my TikTok algorithm has been showing me lots of punk and ska music lately. So with that, our team name, we're going to do a little pre and post game with Circle Jerks. We are going to be the batting Circle Jerks.
Very nice. And over to the other team, Drew, thank you for being here. Why don't you reintroduce yourself and your rooting interests to the listenership?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, happy to be back. It's been a minute. Wife and I recently moved back from a big city back to our hometown, town of a couple thousand versus a little over 1 million. Rooting interests are basically anything in Ohio. Scratch Cleveland though. So Cincinnati Reds, Bengals, big Buckeyes fan. So that was a fun college football playoff series. Didn't really ever look like we were in jeopardy, which is great considering we had a few games that were scary, especially in the regular season.
All right. And the less I talk about the college football playoff this year, the better. But congratulations for you, I guess. David, how are you and what's your team name?
I'm good. And in the typical scramble to come up with a team name, Drew threw out something about Ohio State, and I said I can't do that. I'm an Oregon fan, and I'm still bitter. And my wife and sister both went to Michigan, so definitely not doing anything Ohio State based. But I remember that when Drew was on before, he made reference to the fact that he was a college golfer, and I asked him what his handicap was, and he told me, and I can't even parse what he wrote. So I just figured our team name tonight, we decided will be Playing with a Handicap.
All right. We've got batting Circle Jerks against Playing with a Handicap. You will not be getting any extra points. I'm so sorry to say, Playing with a Handicap, as clever as the name it is. Good try. We've got our teams. So, Dan, can we have some rules, please?
The game will consist of 4 quarters of play, each with different trivia style. The styles of quarters 1 through 3 will change from show to show, and I will explain them as we go along. Like any good sporting event, we will have a halftime show after the second quarter with entertainment questions. And in the fourth quarter, our teams will wager from their points accumulated to see who are today's clipboard captains, to be honored like the true benchwarmers they are. All right, let's get this game underway.
Thank you, Dan. The first quarter will be Let It Ride or Throw in the Towel.
Oh, geez. Right out of the gate.
Let it ride or throw in the towel. For this quarter, there will be 4 questions in a given category that increase in difficulty. After each question, teams can decide to let it ride and attempt the next question, or throw in the towel and take the points they have accumulated to that point. Each question is worth 50 points. If a team answers incorrectly, they will lose half of their points accumulated in the quarter.
And because I can't do one thing at a time, this is going to be Let a Ride, Throw in the Towel, Olympics CV edition. So I'm going to give you the medal CV of an Olympics athlete, and you'll have to give me the athlete. Question number 1. London 2012, gold, 800-meter freestyle. Rio 2016, gold in the 200, 400, and 800-meter free, and the 4x2 free relay. Silver in the 4x1 free relay. Tokyo 2020, gold in the 800 and 1500-meter freestyle, silver in the 400 freestyle, and the 4x200-meter free relay. Paris 2024, gold in the 800 and 1500-meter freestyle, silver in the 4x2 free relay, bronze in the 400-meter free.
We will check in.
Batting circle jerks have checked in, playing with a handicap. Talk it out.
So we were just throwing around a couple names, but given the lengths of these things, and especially going all the way back to London 800-meter freestyle, if I remember right, I don't think the men have an 800-meter freestyle. I think they only do the 1500, but maybe I'm just misremembering. I think this has to be Katie Ledecky. You had tossed around Missy Franklin, but she was a shorter distance person.
Yeah. I was kind of thinking that men might just be canceled out from the gold, especially with that being, still the end of Phelps' kind of career. So you kind of box out some of the men on that side, it feels like.
And given that it's the first one, it's got to be somebody pretty obvious. Okay, we'll check in with Katie Ledecky.
And batting circle jerks, what'd you say?
Yeah, with especially the 1500 free, I do believe that Katie Ledecky holds like the top 20 fastest times like ever. So there's just nobody who touches her in the 1500. So yeah, we also checked in with Katie Ledecky.
Both teams getting points. This is the GOAT of distance swimming, Katie Ledecky, and she hasn't ruled out a return to the Olympics for Los Angeles 2028, considering how dominant her 1500-meter freestyle win was in Paris. I would consider her the gold medal favorite if she wants to participate, because she's just that good, even in what would be her 5th Olympics.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, teams, let's go to playing with a handicap first. Would you like to let it ride or throw in the towel?
Drew, we should go, yeah?
I agree, 100%.
Okay, we're going.
And batting circle jerks.
What do you think, Riley? Should we
Well, considering I thought that was a running question, the last one, it's all on you, man.
I didn't want to throw you under the bus with that one, but all right.
I was thinking of runners.
I'm pretty good with Olympic stuff typically, so I
right,
think at least one more question. We'll see how the next one goes, but I'd say let's let it ride.
I like that freestyle didn't give it away for you. I always had this vision that they should do the same thing for running that they do for swimming. They should have you run backwards, you skip, you run, right? I mean, anyway.
Well, then would you also have to do the same for the pool? Have them hurdle over something?
That's right. Why not? Yeah.
That'd be really impressive if they could do that, frankly. All right, both teams letting it ride. Frankly, if anyone had said they're throwing in the towel after the first question, I would have ignored you and just given it to you anyway. So here we go with question 2 in Olympics CV. London 2012, gold team all-around and floor exercise, bronze balance beam. Rio 2016, gold team all-around, silver individual all-around, and floor exercise.
All right, we will check in.
Okay. Playing with a handicap has checked in, so batting circle jerks, talk it out.
So Riley first sent over Biles, and then he confirmed that she does those things, and yep, she does. But I had to make sure I was looking at this all correctly. And then when I saw the silver individual all around for 2016, Biles won the gold in Rio. And I don't know if she goes back as far as 2012, but I'm pretty sure this was Allie Raisman. I don't know if that's a name you're familiar with at all, Riley. Or
Nope. I was just glad I got the other name right.
Yeah. Just turns out that we would have needed it to been the gold, and then obviously some other golds sprinkled in as well. So
the only part of the Olympics I watched was Gojira playing the ceremony in the opening.
All right. Well, we'll check in with Allie Raisman.
And playing with a handicap, what you got?
Yeah, we threw out a few names. At first, we were thinking Gabby Douglas, and we're like, no, that's not right because I don't picture her as a balance beamer. But Allie Raceman, footnote Eric Walling, Allie Raceman, cover model for Jewish Sports Quarterly, by the way. Yes, so we ultimately checked in with Allie Raceman.
Both teams getting points. It is Ali Raisman, the captain of both the 2012 Fierce Five and the 2016 Final Five. And Raceman at 6 Olympic medals is the third most decorated U.S. gymnast of all time, behind only Shannon Miller and the aforementioned Simone Biles, who has 11. So after those two questions, let's go to batting circle jerks first. Would you like to let it ride or throw in the towel?
I mean, I did most of the heavy lifting, so Josh, you can pick whatever you want to do for the rest.
I think we'll let it ride at least one more time. We'll see if we can get the next, and then I might have to think seriously about the towel, but we'll let it ride this time.
And playing with a handicap.
Drew just sent me keep her going, so I think that's what we're gonna do, and we're gonna hope that the weightlifting is on the last question, not this one.
All right. Moving on to question 3 in Let It Ride and Throw in the Towel Olympics CV edition. Athens 2004, silver in the 200-meter dash. Beijing 2008, gold in the 4x4 relay and silver in the 200-meter dash. London 2012, gold in the 200-meter dash, the 4x100-meter relay, and the 4x400-meter relay. Rio 2016, gold in the 4x100 meter relay, the 4x400 meter relay, and silver in the 400 meters. Tokyo 2020, gold in the 4x400 meter relay, bronze in the 400.
Okay, we will check in.
Okay, batting circle jerks has checked in, playing with a handicap. Talk it out.
So the first thing Drew said to me is just because we're not seeing Usain Bolt mixed in here in any obvious way, virtually has to be women.
Yep.
And this would be the third women's question in a row. Given that Ede's not on the episode, I think that's safe.
Correct.
So I think given the longevity alone, it's got to be Allison Felix. Nobody lasts that long in track. I mean, they just don't. And that's about what she was sort of in the 200, 400 range. So that sounds about right. Are you okay with that?
Yeah, I agree 100%.
Okay, we're going to check in with Allison Felix.
And batting circle jerks. What did you have?
So I said running ? And he said yes, and I said that's my contribution.
So he got me in the right direction. He got me thinking properly that we're looking for running. And yeah, the span of this career and being part of the 2020 gold 4x400, there was no doubt that this was Allison Felix.
Both teams are getting points. It is Allison Felix. Yeah, 5 Olympics is abnormally long for a track athlete. And where's my flavor text on Allison Felix? There it is. And in July 2024, Allison Felix was placed at number 63 on ESPN's list of 100 greatest athletes of the 21st century. So good for her. All right, one more to go. We'll go back to playing with a handicap first. Would you like to let it ride or throw in the towel?
Drew, I'll leave it to you. You're the guest.
I feel like we've gotten to the answers pretty well. We've both had some contributions getting to that answer, so I think we go for one more.
All right, guest wins. We'll go.
Okay, and batting circle jerks. What are you doing?
These first 3 felt pretty good, but you never know when it comes to that fourth.
The fourth one's going to hurt.
Yeah, the bottom can fall out very quickly in a let it ride round. So we currently have 150 points. If we go for it, we could go up to 200 points or fall back down to 75 points.
You're answering the question, so whatever you want to do.
Oh, you're killing me. All right.
I
mean, to possibly stick with a David team to win, we sort of need to try and match points if we can.
I mean, sports is not my strongest suit, and Olympics is probably the worst part of any sports knowledge for me.
It's one of the things that I spend way too much time every 2 years for Olympics, because I even watch a lot of the Winter Olympics. So
the worst case, we get it wrong and drink our woes away.
That is true. Well, then we will let it ride as well.
All right. Both teams going for it. It's the first quarter. Even if you miss, there's plenty of game left. Here we go. The final Olympics CV. Calgary, 1988. Gold in the 500 meters, bronze in the 1,000 meters. Albertville, 1992. Gold in the 500 and the 1,000 meters. Lillehammer, 1994. Gold in the 500 and the 1,000 meters.
We'll check in.
All right. Batting Circle Jerks has checked in. Playing with a handicap. Talk it out.
After dipping your toe in the water there a little bit, I just sent over to confirm that we are talking speed skating. Seen a theme of women kind of going around, so that rules out, guys like, Anton Ono and those, and especially being too early.
It would be too early for him. Plus, it was too early
Correct.
for short track speed skating anyway.
Correct.
So this has got to be long track. We think it's a woman.
Mhm.
This was also on the cusp, like the 92-94 is when they switched over to doing the Winter Olympics in the off years. So there's only 2 years between Olympics. This would be the sweet spot of Bonnie Blair. I'm almost positive it has to be her.
That's about the only speed skater I would have been able to name for you that is a woman as well.
Oh, okay. All right. Let's take our chances. We're going to check in with Bonnie Blair.
Okay. And Batting Circle Jerks, what you got?
Well, Riley did first confirm that winter sport, and I said, yep. Then he said skiing, luge, and I pointed out we're looking at speed skating. But at least you were in the right Olympics. We are looking Winter Olympics. And yeah, this has to be Bonnie Blair.
Both teams are getting their points. Very nicely run. It is Bonnie Blair. Blair with her 6 medals and 5 golds makes her the most decorated U.S. Winter Olympian, tied with the most winter golds by any American with Eric Heiden. Yes, who also has 5 golds in speed skating. The most decorated U.S. Olympian of any gender was mentioned. It was Apollo Ono, who has 8 medals in short track speed skating. All right. Let's see. That was a first quarter let it ride or throw in the towel. Nice and tasteful difficulty. Nothing to pull your hair out.
That was wonderful. I would have felt really bad if we had thrown in the towel, because
See,
as soon as you put it up there, I was like, I'm pretty sure this is Bonnie Blair. And then I just wanted to think about, like David, rather than reacting too quickly, give it some thought, try to clarify. Yeah.
After the first quarter, we have a tie, 200-200.
We wanted to let you know that we are on Patreon if you'd be interested in supporting us financially. Your contributions will be used to help us cover the costs that it takes to bring you the high-quality sports trivia you have come to expect from us. There's also some great perks that come with the Patreon membership to the Benchwarmers Trivia Podcast, including bonus episodes and Benchwarmers swag. You can find us at patreon.com/benchwarmerstp. Thanks.
That brings us to the second quarter, which will be the missing link.
The Missing Link. This quarter will consist of 5 questions with theme-linked answers. The teams will attempt to answer the questions and guess the theme. Each question is worth 20 points. If a team checks in first via chat to the host with the correct theme before the 5th question, they will earn 100 points. The other team can still earn 50 points with the correct theme guess. If neither team has checked in with the correct theme before the 5th question, each team can earn 50 points with the correct answer to the theme after the 5th question.
Question 1 of the missing link. In June 2017, this school became the first SEC team to win national championships in football, men's basketball, and baseball. Not in the same year, just ever.
We'll check in.
Okay, playing with a handicap is checked in. Batting Circle Jerks. Talk it out.
The only tricky part for me on this is the baseball side of it, because I don't pay as close attention to college baseball as other people on this podcast. So then I was just trying to think of which SEC schools from 2017 and before, who would have at least hit the basketball and football. And I don't know, I can't think of a time that LSU or Bama won basketball. I could be wrong. I can't think of it. But I know that Florida has won basketball and football. And I think maybe I recall hearing a while ago that they maybe won a baseball one. So that's where I'm leaning.
I like it. It's well thought out, well reasoned. I'm down.
All right. Well, we will check in with the Florida Gators.
Okay, and playing with a handicap, what you got?
We were kicking around when you said it happened in June. That meant it had to be somebody that won baseball but had prior won football and basketball. And so then we were sort of running through the whole list in our heads of who's won which ones, and eventually settled on the Florida Gators.
Both teams getting points. Correct answer is the University of Florida. Yeah, they won their football championship in 96 and basketball in 06 and 07. And then, yes, won their baseball championship in June 2017. Currently, they still are the only SEC school, even with the expansion, to have championships in all three. The only other school with a football and a men's basketball championship is Kentucky. They claim a football title from way back in the day, and then they've got a bunch of basketball ones.
I was going to say that would have to go way back.
Yeah, well, it goes way back. And then there are a number of schools with both football and baseball national championships that just need the basketball one. Georgia, LSU, Tennessee, Ole Miss, and then if we're including the new arrivals, Texas and Oklahoma both have football and baseball championships. But of course, those didn't happen while they were in the SEC. So the themed link answers so far, the University of Florida. On to question 2. What NBA MVP's debut solo single, which debuted during the 2000 All-Star Game and featured Tyra Banks singing the hook, includes the opening line, what I live for, basketball, beats, and broads? He did not win one of his 4 All-Star Game MVPs in the 2000 game. He only scored 15 points on 7 of 16 shooting.
All right, we'll check in.
Playing with the handicap is checked in. Batting circle jerks, talk it out.
The more that I'm thinking about it, especially with the 4 All-Star Game MVPs, I think there's only 2 or 3 players who've won it that many times. And like I said, I know you'd mentioned, sounds like something Allen Iverson.
4 All-Star Game MVPs, right?
Yeah.
4 NBA MVPs.
So he did win, at least one MVP, but he won, multiple All-Star Game MVPs, and 2000 was sort of, kind of at the peak of his powers for Kobe. And I think, and especially with Tyra Banks, I'm just thinking, okay, Tyra is thinking Hollywood, and so I'm thinking LA. And then, when I keyed in on the 4 All-Star Game MVPs, I'm pretty sure this has to be Kobe Bryant.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. Kobe in my head's got this like really nice, glossy, clean image. So I'm thinking that sounds so douchey.
He didn't have such a glossy image.
But I don't know. I don't know.
He had a particular allegation.
I don't know.
Somewhere around this time-ish. I can't remember exactly when it happened, but
Okay.
And everybody was trying to get an album out around this time from the NBA, it seems. I mean, Allen Iverson probably did at least one album himself, I would think. But I think this probably was Kobe Bryant's attempt.
Okay.
All right, we'll check in with Kobe Bryant.
And playing with a handicap.
We had the same answer of Kobe Bean Bryant. I believe they renamed the All-Star Game MVP award after him, so it kind of makes sense they award it from someone who's probably had the most. I do remember him also being connected with like Brandy way back in the day. I think he took her to prom, if I'm not mistaken. So it makes sense that it's Kobe.
Is his middle name really Bean?
His middle name is really Bean, and both teams are getting their points because it really is Kobe Bryant. The song's not good. To the surprise of everyone here. And yes, Kobe is, along with Bob Pettit, the only person to win 4 All-Star Game MVPs. And like Drew mentioned, the All-Star MVP award is now named for Kobe. And Riley, you are correct in that Allen Iverson did have a rap album. He recorded it under the stage name Jules, and it was also not good. So the theme link answers so far are the University of Florida and Kobe Bryant. Question number 3 in the missing link. He holds the Denver Broncos single game record for passing yards, throwing for 499 yards in a losing effort against Atlanta in 2004.
We can check in.
Batting circle jerks has checked in. Playing with a handicap, it's yours to talk out.
I think we were just about there on the answer. We're pretty sure this is Jake Plummer, so we're going to check in with that.
All right, and batting circle jerks, what did you check in with?
We also checked in with Jake Plummer.
Both teams are getting points. The correct answer is Jake Plummer. So, the themed link answers. The University of Florida, Kobe Bryant, and Jake Plummer. Question number 4. This ADAA team, which featured players Michelle Jones and Fran Stalinovskevich-Davidovitsky, suffered a sudden death loss in the finals of the 2004 Las Vegas International Open Championships, broadcast on ESPN 8.
Oops. I was about to send a text to Riley.
Go ahead.
You good with that, Riley?
Yeah. David's going to send me unsolicited pictures.
He does that all the time. Just wait till he starts butt dialing you.
That's true. Once a month on cue.
Yep.
We'll check in.
Batting Circle Jerks is checked in, playing with a handicap. Talk it up.
Okay, so this is obviously from Dodgeball, the movie.
Yeah.
And so it is, they were the Cobras, right? But you said they were the purple Cobras.
Correct. It's the Globo Gym Purple Cobras. Yeah.
Oh, it was definitely Globo Gym. I remember the Cobras part. I did not remember the purple part.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's required, but if you're sure, then let's check it in.
Yep, 100%.
Okay, Purple Cobras.
Batting Circle Jerks, what you got?
Well, unfortunately, Riley, you said you haven't seen the movie.
I think at this point, I'm just too obstinate. I'm just like, nope. Everyone's like, you gotta watch it. It's all blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, nah.
You should listen to us per our podcast. It's the greatest sports movie of all time. Followed only, the second place was basketball. So, we have good taste.
Never seen that either.
At Benchwarmers Trivia Podcast. But yeah, this would be the Globo Gym Purple Cobras.
Both teams are getting points. This is the Globo Gym Purple Cobras, who were defeated by Average Joe's Gym with help from frickin' Chuck Norris. So the themed link answers are the University of Florida, Kobe Bryant, Jake Plummer, and Globo Gym. We're going to move right to question 5 in the missing link. Name either of the 2 teams that complete the following list: Green Monkeys, Red Jaguars, Blue Barracudas, Purple Parrots.
Aren't those all shapes in the Lucky Charms? We'll check in.
All right, playing with a handicap is checked in, so Batting Circle Jerks, talk it out.
I have no idea what this is.
Me either. I picked the color that wasn't on it and that. I just put them together. So
you know what? That's as good as any guess, because
right,
I'll let you go with it, because I have no
clue. We're going
Yellow
Frogs.
All right, and playing with a handicap, what you got?
So I think it's from the Legends of the Hidden Temple. There's a game show on that was like the midnight game show when I watched as like a kid on Nickelodeon. And David came up with the Silver Snakes, and that sounded right. So that's what I went with.
One team is getting points. Yes, this is from the Nickelodeon competition show classic Legends of the Hidden Temple. Silver Snakes is correct. The other team that would have fit the theme is the Orange Iguanas. Either would have been acceptable.
Oh, should have been the Indigo Iguanas. They're all alliterative. Oh no, they're not alliterative.
They're not. The Green Monkeys?
Almost.
Yeah, one of my big qualms of the naming here is that some of them are alliterative and some of them are not. It drives me crazy. They should all be alliterative, or none of them should be alliterative.
So this just showed that I'm old. I don't know how David has ever, maybe his children maybe watched it. I don't know. I don't know how he would know Silver Snakes from a show that was probably on in the late 90s, early 2000s, somewhere in there.
I think it was even before that. I think it was.
Yeah,
in the early 90s.
It's firmly the 90s.
If it was early 90s, well, that could be. I was in high school. I wouldn't have been watching Nickelodeon, so I guess it could have been early 90s. But definitely, I've seen exactly this many episodes, but it's gotten referenced on this show a number of times, but this might be the first time it was an actual question.
Well, there you go.
We're
breaking new ground here. So our full themed link answers are the University of Florida, Kobe Bryant, Jake Plummer, Globo Gym, the Orange Iguanas, and the Silver Snakes. Both teams have submitted a correct link. One team did submit it first, right around the third question-ish. So I will let that team talk it out, and that team is Batting Circle Jerks. What was your answer for the theme?
We guessed reptiles. In the second question, I sent Reptiles question mark because Gators and Black Mamba.
Then as we were working out the quarterback and I got to Jake Plummer, I was like, I'm pretty sure he went by Jake the Snake. So then it solidified it. So I quickly turned in reptile nicknames as the theme.
And that is correct. These are all reptile nicknames. Yep. University of Florida is the Gators. Kobe is the Black Mamba. Jake the Snake Plummer. Globo Gym was indeed the Purple Cobras. They have to be purple, I think, to make the dick joke work, is my guess. And orange iguanas and silver snakes. Obviously all in the reptile family. So very nicely done. David's attempt of edible animals didn't quite get there.
Yeah, well, so we were a little bit off the scent because as soon as we figured out Florida pretty quickly, and I said to Drew, and I said, what the heck could Florida be? And he said, well, one of us said, well, the Grammys are tonight. So he said, could it be Flo Rida? And these are going to be all sort of like,
Oh, that would have been very good.
That would have been super clever, but not too clever for Taco, I guess. Just like reptiles. No,
That's just went straight to reptiles.
Yeah, we also got off the trail with the Kobe, thinking it was beef related.
Yes.
So beef.
That's where I was going. It's like, is there a Florida cut of beef? But then as soon as Riley sent over reptiles and he said Gators and Black Mamba, I was like, oh, this is probably it. And then the third one when we got there, it was like, yep, that's got to be it.
After the second quarter, we have a lead. Batting Circle Jerks, thanks to that correct and first missing link guess, have 380, playing with a handicap just behind at 350. It's now time for halftime.
It is now time for the halftime show. There will be 3 entertainment questions. Each question is worth 25 points.
And halftime, we're going to use Josh's least favorite game style, but we're going to get it out of the way in a halftime. We are going to do an odd one out, and it's going to be odd one out sports movie cast edition. So I'm going to give you 6 actors and a movie. You have to tell me who did not appear in that movie.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
And because the Globo Gym Purple Cobras featured in the missing link, we're going to start with Dodgeball. Who is the odd one out among this cast of Dodgeball? Justin Long, David Hasselhoff, Hank Azaria, Stephen Tobolowsky, William Shatner, Jason Bateman.
We're going to check in.
Batting Circle Jerks has checked in. Playing with a handicap. Talk it up.
All right, so let's just run this real quick. So Justin Long was the cheerleader kid, right? David Hasselhoff.
Correct.
David Hasselhoff was the captain of the manager of the German team.
The German team.
Hank Azaria was what's his name? The old guy who said dodge, duck, dive, blah 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 blah. Right.
The original Patrick O'Houlihan.
Right. That's it. That's who. That's his name. William Shatner was one of the judges.
Yep.
Right. And Jason Bateman, of course, was the commentator. Yeah. So I still don't know who Stephen Tobolowsky is, but it's got to be him. Okay. All right. We'll check in with Stephen Tobolowsky.
And Batting Circle Jerks.
David, have you seen Groundhog Day?
Yeah, of course.
Needle Nose Ned.
Oh, that guy.
That guy.
He was also in Sneakers.
I mean, he's been in a lot of
movies. A lot of movies.
He's a character. He's one of those like true character actors who just
still
shows
can't
up all
picture
the
his
time.
face.
He was also in Mississippi Burning, he was in a lot of movies.
Anyway, you're a little off on Shatner. He was the dodgeball chancellor.
Oh, the commissioner or something? Yeah.
He was the one that made the ultimate ruling.
Yes. You're right.
So, so it's Stephen Tobolowsky was the odd one out.
Yes, both teams getting points here. David, you hit it right on the nose. Justin Long played Justin. David Hasselhoff was the German coach. Hank Azaria was young Patches O'Houlihan. Shatner was the chancellor. Jason Bateman was Pepper Brooks, the commentator. Stephen Tobolowsky was Ned Ryerson in Groundhog Day and Sammy Jenkins in Memento and a whole bunch of other things. I threw him in there because there's another Stephen in the Dodgeball cast, Stephen Root, a.k.a. Milton from Office Space, was in.
And that's who I was thinking of, David. We were doing ours. Yep.
Okay.
That's why I threw him in there. I tried to out Stephen you. On to question 2. Please give me the odd one out from the cast of Remember the Titans. Donald Faison, Ryan Gosling, Kerry Washington, Kate Bosworth, Hayden Panettiere, Denzel Washington.
We will check in.
Playing with a handicap has checked in. Batting Circle Jerks. Talk it out.
So you said you haven't seen this one either.
Nope.
Okay. Well, Donald Faison, you are correct, is from Scrubs, and he was one of the football players. Ryan Gosling was also one of the football players. Hayden Panettiere was the daughter of the former head coach who got made an assistant coach. Denzel Washington was the new head coach that came in. So then I was just trying to remember,
like a cheerleader or a girlfriend or something, because they would probably be that age, right? I mean,
yeah, and I think it's Kate Bosworth was in it. I don't think Kerry Washington was. So I think Kerry Washington is the odd one out.
And playing with a handicap. What you got?
Yeah, I've seen Remember the Titans more than any other sports movie. I was just saying in our commentary, Kate Bosworth was Gary Bertier's girlfriend.
Yeah.
Until they broke up because she was upset that he was fraternizing with the other players. So yes, the answer is absolutely Kerry Washington.
Both teams are getting points. Yes, Kerry Washington, not in Remember the Titans. Donald Faison was Petey Jones, running back. Ryan Gosling was the worst defensive back ever portrayed on film, Alan Bosley. Denzel Washington was, of course, Coach Boone. Hayden Panettiere was Cheryl Yost. And then, Kate Bosworth was Bertier's girlfriend, Emma. In college, we used to play a Remember the Titans drinking game where the only rule was you drank whenever someone went from racist to not racist. And you finished your drink at the end of the movie when Kate Bosworth's character, Emma, shakes Julius Campbell's hand. You have to down your drink. That's the end of it. They have officially solved racism with that handshake.
Well, I'm certainly glad that was it. That solved it.
That's right. Oh. That was the end of it. We don't have to deal with it anymore. Thank goodness. Thanks to Kate Bosworth. All right. Final question at halftime. Please give the odd one out of the cast of Any Given Sunday. Cameron Diaz, LL Cool J, Aaron Eckhart, John C. McGinley, Terry Crews, Charlton Heston.
We will check in.
Playing with a handicap has checked in. So, batting circle jerks, talk it out.
So, part of me thinks I could see Eckhart not being in it because he's got a reputation for just being really hard to work with, and I could see Pacino and them guys being like, nope.
Do you know that Terry Crews was in it?
I don't, man. Dude,
I know he's been in a bunch of movies, and I know there were a bunch of former NFL players in it. I just don't recall Terry Crews I've looked at Terry Crews's filmography. Because I've recently been doing athlete who turned actors CV halftimes, and I think I did a Terry Crews, and I don't recall this one on his list.
Yeah, let's go with Terry.
You're good with that?
Yep.
We're going to check in with Terry Crews.
And playing with a handicap, would you check in?
We had the same, Terry Crews.
Both teams are getting points. Terry Crews was not in Any Given Sunday, though spiritually he feels like he probably should have been in Any Given Sunday.
Yeah, 100%.
Which is why I threw him on this list. I was like, it was a little surprising to me writing this question. I was like, he wasn't in that movie? He should have been in that movie.
That seemed like the obvious red herring, and then I was like, he's Taco screwing with us. Okay, yes, no, it's Terry Crews.
Yeah, so. Cameron Diaz played Christina, the new owner. LL Cool J was running back Julius Washington. Aaron Eckhart played the offensive coordinator. And is there any role someone with Aaron Eckhart's face is born to play than an offensive coordinator in football? The guy just looks like he has offensive coordinator face. John C. McGinley played Jack Rose, who is a reporter, and Charlton Heston was the commissioner of football.
Oh, he was
Any Given Sunday.
Yep, nailed it.
Nice. All right. So a perfect halftime means the 30-point deficit still stays. Batting circle jerks is at 455, playing with a handicap at 425. That brings us to the third quarter with a close game. Wouldn't it be a nice time for a lucky seven? It's not a lucky seven. The third quarter is pre and post game.
Pre and post game. For this quarter, there will be 4 before and after style questions. For example, if I said, what all-time leader in receptions for the Indianapolis Colts was a Notre Dame safety drafted by the Minnesota Vikings, the answer would be Marvin Harrison Smith. Each question is worth 25 points.
Question number 1 in pre and post game. Spelling bee middle infielder who made 1 All-Star game with the 96 Expos, won 1 Gold Glove with the 2006 Royals, and finished his 15-year career with over 2,000 hits, and 2-time All-Star third baseman and outfielder who is perhaps most famous for hitting a deep drive to left field as a member of the 2020 Cincinnati Reds.
We will check in.
Playing with a handicap has checked in and is not joking. Batting circle jerks, talk it out.
I'm still just trying to decipher what some of
What's
this is.
spelling bee middle infielder mean?
That I don't know what that clue is telling me.
Does he have a name with just way too many letters in it?
I don't know. Maybe.
One Walker. Played for the Expos and the Royals. Over 2,000 hits. Drew's Ohio guy, so I'm assuming the Reds. He had that immediately.
I don't have either of these pieces.
I should start watching baseball, but it's so boring.
It's gotten a little bit less boring with some of the changes they made in the last couple of years with the pitch clock and the bigger bases. It's actually
but
a
it's
little
still,
better. I'm not sure. I mean, it seemed like everybody but you and I were laughing at the deep drive to left field for the 2020 Cincinnati Reds.
Did he career?
Okay, I might have the first. That if that is the case where it's a lot of letters, then it might be because I think Mark Grudzelanek, I think is something like.
So is there someone named Nick something?
Nick, sure. There's lots of guys named Nick.
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 Gretz Nick at night.
You've
Sure.
got about 30 seconds.
Yeah, go ahead. Check in with what you said because I have no idea.
Harry Gretz Nick at night.
And playing with a handicap, why don't you let us know what you checked in with?
We got this really quickly, but I'll take the first half because I went straight to Mark Grudzelanek, which is what Josh just settled on, and Drew immediately pulled the second half, and we were there. So go ahead, Drew.
Yeah, the second half, the clue in there was the Tom Brenneman, his hot mic. He was in the middle of his apology and just jumps out to and deep drive to left field by Nick Castellanos, and then goes right back into his apology.
So what are we checking in with?
Oh, sorry, Mark Grudzelanek, Nick Castellanos, the longest, most number of syllables in a pre and post answer in history.
One team is getting points, and yes, I made it even longer by using Nicholas. The correct answer is Mark Grudzelanek, Nicholas Castellanos. The deep drive to left field is the much memed Tom Brenneman apology for saying some very terrible things on a hot mic and then apologizing to it and giving a home run call with a deep drive to left by Nicholas Castellanos in the middle of it, and which has now led to Nick Castellanos becoming famous for hitting home runs during inopportune times. So if there's ever announcers that are honoring, I don't know, like memorialized soldiers or something, Nick Castellanos will hit a home run during the middle of that moment. That is basically guaranteed at this point.
So funny. By the way, what real quickly before we go on, what was Riley's check-in? I want to make sure I get that one down.
Harry Gretz Nick at night.
Okay.
Because I haven't sounded stupid enough on this podcast.
No.
No,
When you're in review, you can do like the stupid people said on our podcast thing, and that.
No, it's not that. I wanted to use I should watch baseball, but it's so boring. But I can't use that. I can't use that as a title because.
Well, you can. We can say F.
That's true.
Yeah.
Apostrophe.
You could start the title and then just end it with Nick Castellanos hits a drive to deep left field.
Yeah,
Right.
that's right.
Listen. I have checked in on this podcast with the very wrong answer of Philadelphia turkey. So we all check in with nonsense from time to time.
I struggled to get to the I can't even. How do you say his damn name? Grudzelanek.
Grudzelanek. Yeah.
It took me long enough to try and get there, and then I was even with Nick. I was like, I got nothing.
And I'm pretty sure Scott used that in his spelling bee.
He did. He 100% did.
Let it ride, throw the towel. Thus the spelling bee.
And by the way, Riley, I once checked in with, not even that long ago, I checked in with all my Expos live in Texpos. So like we got.
Oh yeah. Yes.
Yeah, we are not immune to
No.
That's right.
No. Sometimes those make for the best podcasts.
They do.
All right, let's keep it moving here. Question 2 of pre and post game. Iowa defensive end who was drafted in the first round by the Green Bay Packers in 2023, using the pick acquired from the Jets in the Aaron Rodgers trade. And left-handed starting pitcher who had a memorable 2024 campaign with the Yankees, first being told by the MLB that his pump fake pitch is officially illegal, and then throwing one of the most memorable pitches in Yankees World Series history. Not a compliment.
We'll check in.
Okay, playing with a handicap has checked in. Batting circle jerks. Talk it out.
All right. So, Riley, the first half is Lucas Van Ness from Iowa. So,
I struggle with Ness. Is there a pitcher that's like S?
No,
Like
there's a pitcher named Nestor. I'm trying to come up with his last name.
Nestor.
I think it's Cortez. I think. So I think the answer is Lucas Van Nestor Cortez. You good with that?
Yeah.
That's what we'll check in with.
Quartet. Nestor.
Okay. And playing with a handicap. What you got?
Yeah, Drew's on fire this round. Got Nestor Cortez right away, and then I said, "Oh yeah, Van Ness," and then he said Lucas Van Ness, and so that's the same thing.
Both teams getting their points. It is Lucas Van Nestor Cortez. Yeah, Nestor Cortez was his game one of the 2024 World Series was quite something. He got Shohei Ohtani to fly out and then intentionally walked Mookie Betts and then threw one of the worst pitches in MLB history and gave up the walk-off grand slam to Freddie Freeman. And that was so bad that they didn't bring him back, and now he's in Milwaukee. You know your pitch is bad if it's so bad that they make you move to Milwaukee. All right, question 3 of pre and post game. This 2-time Daytona 500 winner and NASCAR Hall of Famer won the NASCAR Cup Series in 2003, the final year it was sponsored by Winston. And he has just about every freaking accomplishment possible in WWE. He's a 2-time Grand Slam champion, meaning he's won the WWE Championship, the World Heavyweight Championship, the Intercontinental title, and the U.S. title at least twice. A Royal Rumble winner, a Money in the Bank winner, and he was the first ever NXT champion.
You okay with that?
Mm-hmm.
All right, we'll check in.
All right. Batting Circle Jerks has checked in, playing with a handicap. Talk it out.
So 100% the back half is Seth Rollins.
Yeah. You sent that over pretty quick.
Yeah, I'm sure of that. And then I just sort of tried to think of race car drivers that, NASCAR drivers that would go into that. The best one we've got is is Kenseth.
Yeah.
Kenseth.
Yeah, Matt Kenseth.
Matt. I can't think of anybody else who goes with. It's got to be that.
I can't think of anyone else whose name fits that well with it.
All right, we'll check in with Matt Kenseth, Rollins,
and it's Batting Circle Jerks. What you got?
Thank goodness I've looked at the NASCAR championship not that long ago list. So, yeah, I'm pretty sure that 03 was Matt Kenseth or Ken Seth. And the only wrestler, and since you said it, I'm assuming it's right. I know Seth Rollins is a wrestler. That is as deep as my knowledge goes on anything about Seth Rollins. So, but we also checked in with Matt Seth Rollins.
And both teams are getting their points. It is Matt Seth freaking Rollins. Very nicely done. We navigated the wrestling question and everybody got their points. Good job. All right, on to the final question of pre and post game, and it goes like this. Dominican closer who racked up 289 career saves in a 15-year career in which he pitched for 3/5 of the AL East and had 2 separate stints with the Marlins. And wide receiver who made third-team All-Sun Belt in 2021, second-team All-Pac-12 in 2023, and second-team All-Big Ten in 2024.
I guess we will check in? Question mark?
Playing with a handicap has checked in. Batting Circle Jerks, talk it out.
Oh, my God.
So is there like an Artez,
Yeah. So first, so I kind of sussed out that this wide receiver must have been, I guess technically it could have been a Washington Husky or a Oregon Duck. I guess, it could have been others with transfer portals, but I think it had to have been one of those. And to me, to be a second team, you probably had to have been playing for the Ducks because the Huskies weren't that great this year. So, and their big receiver, I got to watch Oregon play a couple times. I think it's Tez Johnson. So, and, I'm sure there's only a couple of different last names out of the Dominican Republic that end in Tez,
Artez, Cortez.
Closer, pitched for a lot of the AL East teams, 2 stints with the Marlins. Yeah, I mean, there could be another Cortez. I can't think of one.
Evan Longoria Tez Johnson.
Riley, do you know the way this works?
Maybe he shortened it when he came here.
It's a silent Tez in the end.
Yeah,
That's right.
I mean, we could just say Nestor Cortez again. He wasn't. He's not the right answer, but his name does end in Tez. I don't know who this closer is. I've never paid much attention to the Marlins, and I don't pay that close of attention to the AL East. So I don't think I have it. I mean, I'm guessing I will have heard of this person once it gets said, but I just don't have it.
I'm guessing I won't have.
Well, should we just say Nestor Cortez Johnson just to...
Not Evan Longoria.
No, I'd rather at least go with the pitcher.
Nestor Cortez Johnson.
Yeah, that's what we'll go with, unfortunately.
All right. You can have Evan Longoria Tez Johnson as well.
Oh, thank
as
you.
a guest. You can have them both. Fine. Playing with a handicap, what did you check in with?
Amazingly, we checked in with Evan Longoria. No, we checked in with Armando Benitez Johnson.
One team is getting points. The correct answer
Yes,
is Armando
we got it.
Benitez Johnson. Yeah, Armando Benitez came up with the Orioles and also spent time with the Yankees and finished his career with the Blue Jays for a short stint. And then in the middle was with Florida and also with the Giants. And then Tez Johnson was all Sun Belt with Troy before transferring to Oregon, where he was second team all Pac-12 with the Ducks, and then made second team all Big Ten this year when they moved to the Big Ten. So nicely done playing with a handicap. And with that final question, that means heading into the fourth quarter, we have a lead change. Playing with a handicap has taken a 20-point lead, 525 to 505. And it's now time for the fourth quarter.
The fourth quarter, known as Put Your Fours Up. This quarter consists of 4 categorized questions that teams will wager up to 100 points each, not to exceed their current point total.
All right, our fourth quarter categories are going to be some leftovers because I had some extra questions. So our fourth quarter categories are as follows. An Olympics question, like the first quarter. This one's going to be Olympics basketball. We're going to have a reptile-adjacent sports trivia question. We have a pre and during and post game. And finally, we have a standard run-of-the-mill fourth quarter question about the NFL. It's now time for the teams to place their wagers.
We'd like to take a minute to invite you to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at BenchwarmersTP. We also have a Facebook group for fans of the pod called The Bench. Join us there to comment on the latest episodes and share cool sports facts and trivia. If you'd be willing to rate and review us on iTunes or Stitcher, we'd greatly appreciate the support so that other people may find this podcast. Thanks.
Now that the wagers are in, on to the questions. Question number 1 of the fourth quarter in Olympics basketball. A number of players have won an NBA championship and an Olympic gold medal in the same calendar year, including LeBron James in 2012 and Kyrie Irving in 2016. There are 2 players who have accomplished this feat twice. Name them both.
You good with that? Riley?
Hell yeah.
All right, we'll check in.
Batting circle jerks have checked in. Playing with a handicap. Talk it out.
Okay, so this has come up before, and so first Drew said, "What about Jordan and Pippen?" So Pippen is right because Pippen came back to play after they both played on the Dream Team. The Bulls won. They both played on the '92 Dream Team. In '96, Jordan didn't come back, but Pippen did. So Pippen is definitely right. So for a long time, I think he was the only one. So I think the other one has to be somebody that's recent.
I agree.
And what I'm trying to remember is there are three guys for the Celtics who did it this year, and I think one of them might be the answer because the three guys for the Celtics are Derek White, who certainly wouldn't have done it twice because he's only been in the Olympics once.
Oh, would it be? I was thinking Drew Holiday because
Drew. No, I think it is Drew Holiday because Drew Holiday won 24 with the Celtics, won the Olympics the same year, and then in 20,
would have been.
It was the
I don't know if it
Bucks.
was the same year.
It was the Bucks
because he did it with the Bucks, but I don't remember if it was the same year as the calendar year of the Olympics. Is my only issue.
The calendar year. Wait, so the Bucks. Wait, so yes, because the Bucks won in 21, and remember the Olympics were a year later.
Yes, that's right.
Okay. It's got to be that. All right, since we're short on time, we will check in with Scottie Pippen and Drew Holiday
for
100 points.
And batting circle jerks. What you got?
This is why it's so infuriating playing against David. He's never going to get it wrong. He's always going to get there. I got there quicker, but
I forgot about Drew Holiday.
Yeah. It's Scottie Pippen and Drew Holiday because, yes, Drew Holiday won both this last year and then in 21 because of the postponed Olympics. Yes.
How many points did you wager?
We also wagered 100 points. Thanks, David.
All right.
Someone should call child services for that name.
Both teams are getting their points. One team is hating David. The correct answers are Scottie Pippen and Drew Holiday. Yeah, that was the tricky part, was that the 2020 Olympics weren't actually in 2020.
So David, did you hear when Riley asked if that was a misspell?
Oh no, I didn't actually. I wasn't even listening.
Because I spelled Drew Holiday's name correctly.
Interesting.
Which, if you look at his first name, it doesn't look like Drew, even though it is Drew.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. No, I honestly, honestly, Josh, I didn't hear that whole exchange.
Oh, thank goodness, because as soon as he said it, I was like, oh, no, shh.
He was too far in the Deluxe apartment. There was soundproofing. He didn't hear it.
I think he snuck into the Mind Palace again.
Oh boy, but these allegations, he's never going to shake them.
He isn't.
Yeah.
All right.
The funny thing is, I like 200 episodes ago, I asked the same question, but at that time there was only one, and it was Pippen. And that was the answer. So I knew Pippen right off. But
the Pippen part isn't the frustrating part.
No. Yeah. What I'm saying is I knew it. What I'm saying is I remember asking the question and knew there was only one, so it had to be somebody that was recent.
After one question of the fourth quarter, it remains a 20-point deficit with playing with a handicap ahead 625 to 605. Question number 2 in reptile-adjacent sports trivia. This trainer was accused of loosening the ropes prior to Muhammad Ali's win over George Foreman in the Rumble in the Jungle. In addition to training Ali, he was the cornerman for much of Sugar Ray Leonard's career and worked with George Foreman during Foreman's 1990s resurgence to the heavyweight title.
All right, we will check in.
Playing with a handicap has checked in. Batting circle jerks. Talk it out.
Riley, you got anything on Muhammad Ali's trainers that is gator related? Reptiles, gators, snakes, frogs.
Nope.
Anything?
I don't think I've ever watched a boxing match.
What are the reptiles? What are the reptiles we got?
Frogs, snakes, reptile adjacent. I wonder if it's just the Rumble in the Jungle that makes it adjacent.
I have no idea. I don't.
Frogs are amphibians, just to be clear.
There was ever an old guy question that was gonna just get right to David. This is the type of one because I think he was there.
Guy questions. Yeah, he probably was. He was probably the trainer. Accused of loosening.
I don't.
What's David's reptile nickname if he's training Ali?
Oh, it's
The Carolina
the
king
tortoise.
snake Lux.
oh god, what would his reptile name be? It'd be
The tortoise is a good one.
The tortoise Lux.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I have zero, like, some of these where I say that I have, like, hardly any. I have nothing. Like, I have no idea.
Is it
Reptile, gator, snake.
About one more minute.
I don't think we need it.
I don't. I literally. I have nothing.
It's,
there's nothing. There's nothing. I mean, unless and I don't know anything of any trainers in boxing history. So
Is there a reptile guy that worked with George Foreman's grill?
like an actual reptile.
Yeah. Oh, that's yeah.
I don't. Iguana.
Mm,
No.
Bobby Iguana. Yeah.
Sure. Let's go with
Yeah.
Bobby Iguana. That
Yeah.
sounds like a trainer. Sure. For unfortunately 100 points.
Yeah.
All right. And playing with a handicap, what did you check in with?
Okay, so first of all credit to my partner here, who, on hearing the question, writes immediately Don King Cobra, which I thought was awesome.
Oh, that's very good.
Was very good. But I mean, like Josh, I can only name about 3 boxing trainers. And the first guy that occurred to me was the famous trainer Angelo Dundee. And I was like, I don't understand why that's a reptile.
God.
So yes, it's Angelo. He was not called this, but Crocodile Dundee. Nicely done, Taco. I hate you and I like you all at the same time. So
One team is getting points. Correct answer is Bobby Iguana. No, the correct answer is Angelo Dundee.
Wow.
And yes, that is why it's reptile adjacent and not an actual reptile.
David, maybe you didn't hear me when I said I can't name
Any
any.
trainers?
None.
Yeah.
0. Not 3.
Yeah.
Who
I
the hell
can't
can
name
boxing
any.
trainers. Good lord.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Life.
Eads been trying to
Don King
fire
House,
David
yeah.
for a while, and now Josh is trying to fire me.
No, I
I've got
can't
like
fire this
I've
guy.
got like Customato, Freddie Roach, Angelo Dundee. If Walling were here, he'd be laughing at us because everybody was famous in Muhammad Ali circles. That's why. I mean, it's just like
Not to people who are under the age of 50, which I
Yeah.
can still say.
Anyway. For 6 months, Josh. You got 6 months.
Yeah, 5 years.
All right. Moving on to question 3 of the fourth quarter. There's some separation in the scores. We won't talk about it, but there's still time to come back. There's still 2 questions. Here we go. In pre and during and post game, he's the Dodgers pitcher who gave up Bobby Thompson's shot heard around the world. She's the 2021 WNBA Finals MVP for the Chicago Sky, who is the only member of the Phoenix Mercury to make an All-NBA team in 2024. And he was named Final Four Most Outstanding Player in 1986, the last time Louisville won a non-vacated national championship.
All right, we're gonna check in.
Playing with a handicap has checked in. Batting Circle Jerks. Talk it out.
2 out of 3 ain't bad, huh?
That's what Meatloaf said.
That's what I got. And once again,
So
it's the David side of this that I don't know, which means the old guy sports I don't have.
Bobby. Do you have like an era for that?
That is the 60s,
I'm guessing Kale.
50s, 40s. Shit, it's somewhere in there. 40s to the 60s, somewhere in there. David's era. I couldn't tell you exactly.
Pre-World War II?
This, let's say pre-Vietnam.
Okay.
Somewhere
So-
before that. I couldn't tell you
Is
specifically
that
where it
Kaylee?
sits.
Is that how that's supposed to be pronounced?
Huh?
Kaylee? Is that how that's?
It's a Kalia,
Magically-
I think.
Oh, Kalia.
Kalia Copper. Yeah, so I got Kalia Copper and
Kalia.
Purvis Ellison,
So is it like
but something that ends in
Tuff?
Ka or Call.
Like Larry Jonka?
if he had been a pitcher.
Yeah. He might have been. You never know.
Larry Zonka Copper. I don't know who. I don't know. I'm sure this is trivia that some people like David know. Is who is the pitcher?
For everyone listening, Josh is amazing because he's referred to this team as "we" this whole game, and it has really just been him.
Well, I try to be a good teammate, and
if you come on this podcast and you're bad at sports, team up with him.
Team with David.
Yeah,
that's what we've. I'm okay. David is a savant. Some would call him an idiot savant, but you know. I should we go with Larry Zonka
Purvis Ellison.
Sure.
Tez
I guess
Johnson,
we're gonna hope that
Evan
Larry
Longoria,
Zonka, before
Tez.
playing football, was a pitcher who gave up a famous home run.
And playing with a handicap.
For 100 points, by the way. For 100 points.
And playing with a handicap, which you check in with.
Well, I had go ahead, Drew. So I had the first and third part cold because the third part is Never Nervous Purvis Ellison, and the first part is a guy by the name of Ralph Branca, who by the way is Bobby Valentine's father-in-law, strangely.
Yeah, Ralph. Right
so and as soon as I came up with Branca and Purvis, Drew started throwing out like names that would somehow fit in between, and we got there because I was rustiest on the WNBA. But eventually, we checked in with Ralph Purvis Ellison.
One team is getting their points. Famous Dodgers left-hander Larry seals it up. The correct answer is Ralph Purvis Ellison.
And by the way, 1951.
Very good.
Hey, I was right. Somewhere from the 40s to the 60s.
I think you were going to say pre-Vietnam, post-World War II, and I was like, okay.
I wasn't. I didn't want to narrow myself down because who knows? This could have been early 40s.
Why limit ourselves?
The Great Pyramids were pre-Vietnam, if we're being technical.
Barely, right? Wasn't it like the 1800s or something, right?
Yeah, basically.
By the way, I don't get to use this as much as we've tried to make this a little more well-known names. I get to give you a who for Ralph Branca. I'm guessing this is the only thing he's known for.
Well, being Bobby Valentine's father-in-law.
Sure.
Sure.
That's
he's known for that?
Okay.
Who doesn't know father-in-laws? I mean, that's a normal thing.
Right. All right, let's go to our final question of the game in the category of just a standard fourth quarter question in the NFL. In 2024, Jared Goff became the fourth quarterback to pass for 15,000 yards for multiple teams. The other three were all starters at the same time for only one season, 2015. Name any two of those three.
All right, we'll check in.
Oh, thank goodness.
Okay, Batting Circle Jerks has checked in, playing with a handicap. Talk it out very quickly and give me an answer.
All right, so we've got 9 names we'd like to check in.
Okay, Matt Doherty, calm down.
Matt Doherty, exactly. We have been throwing out a lot of names. I mean, we went back and forth with a lot of guys. We were trying to think of like, since the trade, would Stafford have gotten there? We're like, no, I don't think so. I was watching very closely on the Zoom to see if Josh got like a rash when the name Kirk Cousins came up in his head, because we're pretty sure that he's got to be on the list. And then we're like, was Peyton in Denver long enough? Then we were throwing around like, is Geno Smith? Did he play long enough? I forgot about the hint, and I threw out Warren Moon. I was like, yes, Warren Moon was playing in 2015. Drew was giving me all kinds of stuff about that. The names that we like the most, I think, are probably Peyton Manning and Kirk Cousins. The other name that I threw out there, I have zero confidence in, but he comes up every time I'm researching quarterbacks and yards, is Carson Palmer. His name comes up all the time.
My only hesitation with that is Palmer. I don't think he played long enough for the Cardinals before Kurt Warner took him over and he went to the Super Bowl with them and Larry Fitzgerald.
I think you're right. I just don't know. He would satisfy the 2015 clue. All right. So let's just check in.
Yeah,
with
Manning and Cousins.
All right, we'll check in with Manning and Cousins for 100 points.
And for the final time, Batting Circle Jerks, what you got?
Yeah, Yeah, Palmer was my first guess. That was the first name I threw out.
I think he might be one of them. I think
Yeah.
Kurt Warner is close, but I don't. Maybe he didn't quite get there with the Cardinals.
I know Palmer. There's like a crazy stat. Like he's up there with Tom Brady. Like over 100 touchdowns thrown with a team or something. Like he's one of the few quarterbacks that's done it with multiple teams.
Yeah,
There's some stat like that. So
yeah. But while we think that that's a good one, but like David was saying, we also settled in on a guy who gets a lot of yards, but not a lot of playoff wins. I think he has one in his career. That would be
don't
one.
like that.
Kirk Cousins, that I think he absolutely talk about a guy, especially with Washington, who would just roll up garbage time yards when they were losing by a bunch. But then he had a number of really good statistical regular seasons with the Vikings, throwing for over 4,000 yards. So I think he absolutely is one of them. And I think Peyton Manning, while he only played 4 seasons with the Broncos, and that last season wasn't great.
That was my question. How many seasons did he
his
play with
first
the Broncos?
3 with them
Yeah.
were stellar. Like I said, I think 2 of them were 4,500 plus, and the other year it might have been
Touchdown record.
5,500 yards. Like he just had a monster. Like the second season he was at Denver was just a monster. 4,500 plus is also pretty darn good years.
Yeah.
But so I think almost with those 3 alone, he didn't need to have a very good 4th season.
Fair point.
Even though they won the Super Bowl because of the defense.
Yeah, defense won that.
So to make a short story very long, we also checked in with Kirk Cousins and Peyton Manning for 100.
Well, we end on a good note because both teams are getting their points. Peyton Manning indeed did pass for over 5,000 yards with the Colts and then over 17,000 in 4 seasons with Denver. Kirk Cousins got to 23,000 yards with the Vikings and 16,000 with the Washington Redacted. The third indeed was Carson Palmer.
Really?
Over 22,000 with Cincinnati and over 16,000 in 5 years with Arizona. Kurt Warner was close. Surprisingly, Kurt Warner got over 15,000 with the Cardinals, but did not have 15,000 with the Rams.
Really?
Yeah,
He was
shocking.
about 500 yards short with the Rams.
I would have not thought that. Oh.
Really only had 3 full seasons as a starter in St. Louis.
I
can't believe Palmer played that long. I didn't think he was still playing in
Yeah,
2015.
he had 5 full seasons with the
that
Cardinals.
was the thing I
What
brought
about
up.
the
I was like,
Raiders?
I didn't think he played that late. But...
Would it have been with the Raiders at that time? Is that what we're thinking?
With Carson Palmer?
Yeah. Is that where he finished up?
That's
Yeah.
a great question. I already closed his sports reference page, so I can't tell you. With the Raiders, he was only with the Raiders for 2 years in 2011, 2012. And then he was with Arizona from 2013 through 17.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah. A couple of other guys that are close. Matthew Stafford, if he doesn't retire and doesn't get traded, will join the club next year with the Rams. He's about 300 years short. And if by some miracle, Ryan Tannehill again becomes the starting quarterback with the Tennessee Titans, he's about 500 yards short to make that list as well. I don't foresee that happening, but you know.
Is it just me or did Taco say 300 years short? He did say 300 years short.
The name I gave you, so the
Sorry.
Kurt Warner name, he wasn't playing anywhere near 2015.
Yeah,
I don't think so.
I think he was out around the 2010.
Yeah, that's totally right.
Maybe not even then. Maybe 09.
Yeah, his last season was 2009.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, he was
that
way
part-
after Warren Moon, which I was throwing out as a guess. So.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, that is true. You got to go back a little farther for your old guy guess.
Exactly.
All right, the game has come to an end. Here are our final scores. Batting Circle Jerks finishes with a very respectable 505 points. But our winners today, the clipboard captains receiving the coveted, we're going to go off script just because I feel like he's the clipboard captain of acting. The Stephen Tobolowsky Award will be playing with a handicap with 925 points.
Nice.
Riley, Drew, thank you so much for joining us. Any parting words either of you have on the way out for us?
Go ahead, Drew.
Yeah, it was just a really fun game. Got to bounce around some people we haven't talked about in a minute, and work our way into some really good answers.
Thanks, Drew. And Riley, anything from you?
Yeah. So yeah, a lot of fun. I'll be doing another episode, I think, in a month, and it'll be fun to watch these guys fight over who gets to have me on their team. But no, this podcast is a lot of fun. If you're listening and you're a Patreon or not, maybe consider throwing a couple extra bucks their way or signing up on their Patreon. And also a lot of crazy things are happening in our world right now. So maybe think about supporting a local business, donating to your food banks, saying hi to your neighbor, just checking on them, make sure they're okay. Whether or not you guys feel the same way, or just say hi, how are you doing? Are you guys good? But yeah, take care of each other. So yeah.
I think that is perfectly
Awesome.
stated.
Yeah, really well said, Riley. And and thank you to all of our patrons who support this podcast and make what we do possible. We really, really appreciate it. And for David and Josh and all of the bench warmers and all of our guests and patrons, I've been Taco. This is the Bench Warmers Trivia Podcast. And until next time, we'll keep the bench warm.
Ball hit high and deep. Stretch! Get on back there. They look up. You can put it on the board. Yes!
Into deep left center for Mitchell. And we'll see you tomorrow night.
That great music you're listening to is by Justin Nozick. Thanks to him for producing that music for us. You've been listening to the Benchwarmers Trivia Podcast. Make sure to check us out on all of our social media. We are at Benchwarmers TP.
And Riley, by the way, you saved a perfect game by knowing the theme. They only had a no-hitter because they didn't answer a question wrong, which this is what happens when you play David Lux in a game. If you get one wrong, you're probably going to lose. But no perfect game, only a no-hitter.
You worked a walk in the fourth inning.
That's right.
It's the perfect game.
All right, Riley,
We did
all
a pitch.
over it.
It just
Watching
leaned into a
those
pitch, I
pitches,
think.
real.
Yeah, they just threw the shoulder in
lean
there.
the shoulder in and just.
Yeah.
Or
All right,
Don
so-
Baylor, just stick your forearm over the
Yeah,
plate.
that too.
Actually, in high school, I threw one. I just had 4 hit by pitches that stopped it from being perfect.
No.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.